Snow fell in quiet, gentle waves as four friends drove through the mountain roads. Emma, Kyle, Jordan, and Mia. Christmas week had finally arrived, and they'd been planning this holiday getaway for months. An isolated cabin in the mountains, a wood-burning fireplace, board games, hot chocolate. Everything sounded perfect, or so they thought. Kyle was driving, humming along with the radio. Emma sat beside him, scrolling through the Airbnb listing again. The cabin's photos looked cozy. Warm lights, wooden walls, a snowy front porch, decorated with lanterns. Almost like a postcard. It looks magical, Emma said, smiling. Jordan leaned forward from the back seat. It better be. This place was way too cheap for a holiday week. I swear the owner practically begged us to come. Mia chuckled. We're lucky. Everyone else booked months ago. But Jordan's words lingered in the air longer than they should have. As they climbed higher into the mountains, cell service weakened until their phones showed no signal. The forest thickened on both sides, tall pines bending under the weight of snow. The road narrowed, winding deeper into isolation. There, Kyle said, pointing. GPS shows we're close. The screen blinked uncertainly, then froze. The road ahead was quiet, the silence too heavy for a holiday trip. Finally, a wooden sign appeared, half buried in snow. Ridge Pine Retreat, Holiday Cabin. They cheered, relieved. The cabin stood at the end of a long path, wrapped in shadows despite the bright snow around it. The wooden porch light flickered faintly. The house looked older than in the photos, much older. Warped wood, frosted windows. A strange set of scratches along the doorframe. Okay, creepy, Mia muttered, hugging herself. Kyle unlocked the front door, using the code the owner sent. It swung open with a long, tired creak. The interior was warmer than expected. A fireplace crackled softly. A Christmas wreath hung on the wall. Everything seemed prepared. Too prepared. Jordan frowned. Did someone just leave this fire going? Isn't that dangerous? Emma stepped farther in, her voice small. It feels like someone was expecting us. A table near the window had 4 mugs arranged neatly, a kettle beside them, a blanket draped over the sofa. The strangest thing, 4 sets of slippers placed in a perfect line facing the door. Mia's voice trembled. Guys, did you notice each pair is our size? They all exchanged uneasy glances. Before anyone could answer, a sudden sound echoed from upstairs, a loud, clear thump. Kyle froze. Probably the house settling. Old place. Jordan shook his head. That didn't sound like settling. Emma swallowed hard and turned toward the staircase. Is anyone else staying here? The listing said entire cabin, Kyle replied. Another sound, this time a dragging noise. Slow. Heavy. As if something moved across the attic floor. Jordan whispered, Okay, no. That's not the house. The friends stood together, staring at the ceiling. Then the sound stopped. Silence pressed in from every corner. A silence too heavy to be normal. Mia whispered, I have a bad feeling about this. Kyle forced a smile. Guys, it's just an old house. We're tired, that's all. But the moment they turned away from the stairs, Emma noticed something on the wall near the fireplace, a framed photo. 4 people, hands raised, screaming, their faces blurred. Yet horribly familiar. Emma stepped back, heart racing. Guys, come look at this. The others approached. Kyle's face went pale. Is that? Jordan whispered what everyone was thinking. They look exactly like us. Outside, the wind howled across the mountains, and somewhere above them, the attic floor creaked again, slowly, deliberately, as if something was shifting its weight, waiting. The 4 friends sat frozen in front of the framed photo, unable to look away from the blurred faces that resembled their own. Emma broke the silence first. Someone is messing with us, she whispered. Kyle shook his head. But how? We just got here. Jordan swallowed hard, glancing at the ceiling. Forget the picture. What about the noises upstairs? Mia hugged herself. We should check the attic. Kyle forced a grin. Right, because horror movies always start with let's check the attic. But he grabbed a flashlight anyway. The stairs creaked loudly as they climbed. The air grew colder, heavier. At the attic door, Kyle paused. What if something's actually in there? Emma whispered. Kyle exhaled. Then we deal with it. He opened the door. The attic was empty. Just dusty boxes, old chairs, and a broken lamp. No signs of movement, no intruders. But the floorboards were icy cold, and a trail of melted snowdrops led to the far corner-like footprints. Jordan whispered, "How would snow get in here?" No answer. They went back downstairs, more confused than reassured. Kyle made hot cocoa. Emma lit more candles. Mia wrapped herself in a blanket. Anything to feel normal. Jordan opened the cabin's side window for fresh air and jumped back. A person stood outside, not close, not walking. Just standing in the snow, facing the cabin silently. An older man in a winter coat, hands at his side, staring with an unreadable expression. Jordan stepped away from the glass. Guys, we've got a problem." They rushed to the window. The man didn't move, didn't wave, didn't blink. Emma breathed. "Maybe he's the owner?" "No," Mia said quickly. "The owner said he lives out of state." Kyle knocked on the window gently. "Hello?" The man didn't react. Jordan grabbed his jacket. "I'm not letting some creep stare at us all night." "Don't," Emma said sharply. "Something's wrong." But Jordan was already outside. Snow crunched under his boots as he approached. "Sir, do you need help?" The man slowly turned his head toward him. Jordan froze. The man's eyes were empty, completely unfocused, like he wasn't actually seeing Jordan at all. He lifted his hand not to wave, but to point at the cabin. Jordan shivered. "What? What's in the cabin?" The man finally spoke. His voice was dry, hollow. "Stay inside after midnight." Jordan frowned. "Why?" The man didn't answer. He simply turned and walked into the trees without leaving footprints. Jordan backed away slowly. No footprints, none. He raced back inside. "Guys, that was not normal." Emma whispered, "He told us to stay inside after midnight." Kyle looked at the clock. 11:42 p.m. Mia clutched the blanket tighter. And then what? A sudden scraping noise came from the porch. Slow, dragging, like something heavy was being pulled across the wooden boards. Emma whispered, "Is he back?" Kyle grabbed the flashlight, but when he opened the door, the porch was empty. Only one thing was there, a fresh set of footprints leading toward the cabin, but none leading away. And something else. Written in the snow, perfectly carved, 12 a.m. The wind grew still. The temperature dropped. The house seemed to hold its breath. Kyle whispered, voice shaking, "It's midnight." Emma slowly closed the door. "All of us stay inside, no matter what." The house fell silent. Then upstairs, something heavy began walking, step by step by step, even though the attic door was still locked. The sound from upstairs grew heavier, slow, deliberate footsteps pacing across the locked attic. Mia covered her ears, shaking. Emma whispered, "How is someone walking up there when we just checked it?" No one had an answer. Kyle grabbed a poker from the fireplace. "If something's inside this house, we need to protect ourselves." Jordan nodded, but his eyes remained fixed on the ceiling. The footsteps stopped, and then something scraped across the floor, a long, dragging sound. Emma tried the cabin's landline on the wall. Dead, no dial tone. Mia whispered, "This place wasn't supposed to have guests before us, right?" Jordan snapped, "You think someone never left?" Silence flooded the room again. Kyle finally said, "Everyone stays downstairs. No splitting up." But then they heard another noise, this time from the back hallway. A faint thump. Emma's voice cracked. "Is that?" Inside the house, Jordan walked to the hallway slowly. At the end of it was a small wooden door they hadn't noticed before, half blended into the wall panels. "What is that?" he whispered. Mia hugged herself. "It wasn't in the pictures." Kyle stepped closer and wiped the dust. A tiny brass plaque read, "Guest Room B." Emma frowned. "But this cabin only has 3 bedrooms." Jordan tried the knob. It turned easily. "Don't," Mia said, but it was too late. The door swung open. Inside was a perfectly arranged bedroom. Fireplace lit, candle burning, blankets folded neatly, a steaming cup of tea on the bedside table. and a framed photo on the dresser. A picture of all four of them, standing in front of the very cabin they were in. Emma's voice trembled. "This is impossible." Kyle stepped back, horrified. "This room was prepared for us." Mia whispered, "No one could have taken that photo. We just arrived." Jordan lifted the frame with shaking hands. The date on the corner chilled his blood. Taken December 22nd, 1998, 23 years before they were even born. Kyle's voice dropped. "What kind of sick joke is this?" Then the floorboards behind them creaked. All four turned. At the end of the hallway, standing in the shadows, was the same old neighbor Jordan had seen outside, except this time he was inside the house. Emma gasped. "How did he get in?" Kyle raised the fireplace poker. "Stay back." The man didn't move, didn't blink, didn't breathe. Jordan whispered, "Sir, what do you want?" The man lifted one hand slowly and pointed to the guest room B doorway. Emma shook her head violently. "No, we're not going in there." The man's voice came out like crushed leaves. "You already have." Mia looked behind her and screamed. The teacup inside the room was suddenly empty. The bed was messy. Footprints, fresh footprints covered the floor, as if they had already stayed there. Kyle slammed the door shut. When he turned back, the old neighbor was gone. Jordan locked the front door, all windows, everything he could reach. Emma tried to steady her breathing. "Why is this happening?" Mia whispered, "Because this house was waiting for us." The fire in the living room flickered violently, almost blown by a wind none of them felt. Then, from the attic above them, a voice whispered, "Welcome back." Emma grabbed Jordan's arm. "Did you hear that?" Jordan's face turned white. "That wasn't the neighbor. That was inside. The attic." Kyle backed away, shaking his head. "This house knows us. It's been preparing for us." Mia whispered the words no one wanted to say. "It wants something from us." The house creaked again, as if agreeing. And in that moment, all four of them realized they hadn't chosen the cabin. The cabin had chosen them. The whisper from the attic, "Welcome back," hung in the air like ice. None of them moved. None of them breathed. Finally, Kyle whispered, "We're leaving. Right now." No one argued. They grabbed their coats, their bags. Jordan snatched the car keys, and all four bolted out the front door into the freezing night. Snow crunched loudly under their boots as they ran to the car. Kyle unlocked it with trembling fingers. Everyone piled in. "Drive!" Emma shouted. Kyle turned the ignition. The engine sputtered. Once, twice, 3 times. Then nothing. "Oh, come on." Kyle slammed the wheel. Mia whispered, "It worked when we came." Jordan looked back toward the cabin just as one of the upstairs lights flicked on by itself. He swallowed. "We had to try another road. GPS is dead, but there's only one way back down the mountain." Kyle nodded and started pushing the car down the snowy path until the engine finally coughed and roared to life. Everyone cheered in shaky relief. They reached the main mountain road and turned left, the direction they came from. 10 minutes passed. The snowy forest looked identical on both sides, branches heavily coated with frost. The road twisted downward. Everything felt right until they saw it. Emma gasped. No, this can't be happening." At the bottom of the hill, through the trees, stood a small wooden sign buried in snow. "Ridge Pine Retreat, Holiday Cabin," Mia screamed. "We went EFT. We went the opposite direction." Jordan pulled his hair. The road looped or changed. Kyle clenched the wheel. "We try the other direction then." He spun the car around. They drove another 15 minutes uphill. The forest got denser. The temperature dropped. A fog began swirling in the trees. Emma checked her watch. 12:47 a.m. Finally, the trees cleared again and they saw it, the same sign. The same snowy path. The same cabin. Mia whispered in pure terror, "We're trapped." "The road is repeating." Kyle slammed the brakes. The car skidded to a stop in front of the cabin they had just escaped minutes ago. Emma covered her mouth. This is impossible." Jordan got out of the car and examined the snow. There were tire tracks. Their own tire tracks, leading back into the forest, and then circling. returning to the cabin. We didn't turn, Jordan whispered. The road turned us. Kyle punched the hood. This is insane. Roads don't move. Emma stared at the attic window of the cabin. A silhouette was standing there, watching them. She grabbed Kyle's arm. Someone's in the attic. Mia shook her head violently. No one went in there. No one, Jordan whispered. Then who is that? The silhouette slowly moved away from the window. Mia sobbed. We can't go back inside. But the woods suddenly went silent. The wind stopped. The temperature dropped sharply as if the forest were holding its breath. Then from deep between the trees, a low, dragging sound echoed, a sound they had heard before. In the attic, in the walls. But now it came from the forest behind them. Jordan whispered, terror shaking his voice. Whatever was in the attic followed us. Kyle started backing the car away, but the headlights flickered violently. The engine sputtered again and died. The darkness felt alive. Emma trembled. This cabin isn't a place, it's a trap. A single lantern on the porch lit by itself, warm, inviting, too inviting. Jordan whispered the words all of them were thinking. The cabin wants us to come back. A slow creak echoed as the front door opened on its own, letting warm light spill out onto the snow. The house was waiting, and no matter where they drove, it always brought them back. The porch light flickered as the cabin door stayed wide open, as if the house itself were inviting them inside. Snow drifted quietly across the path, the only movement in the frozen night. No way, Kyle whispered. We're not going back. But the woods behind them groaned, branches bending, snow shaking off trees, something dragging itself through the darkness. Emma grabbed Kyle's coat sleeve. We don't have a choice. Jordan swallowed. Inside is the only place with light. I think the house is forcing us to return. Reluctantly, they stepped onto the porch. The moment they crossed the threshold, the front door slammed shut behind them. Mia jumped. It closed on its own. Emma whispered, it doesn't want the woods getting in. Kyle shook snow from his jacket. Yeah? Or it doesn't want us getting out. The house was strangely warm again. Too warm, like it had been expecting them. Jordan noticed a small wooden cabinet near the fireplace, something he swore wasn't there earlier. What's that? He asked. Emma pulled the drawer open. Inside were old, dusty files, each labeled with dates going back decades. Kyle flipped one open. It contained a picture. A couple standing in front of the cabin smiling. On the bottom corner, guests, December 2007, Mia gasped. Didn't the owner say he bought the house recently? Emma opened another file. Another smiling group. A date scribbled underneath. 2011 Jordan pulled out more. 2015. 2018, 2020. Every photo showed different people, families, couples, friends posing happily. But in every photo, their faces were slightly blurred. Not pixelated, erased, as if the house didn't want anyone remembering them. Kyle found a thick file at the very back. The paper was yellowed, the edges burnt. On the cover, missing visitors, Emma's voice trembled. What does that mean? Kyle opened it. Inside were news clippings. 5 college students disappear in Ridgepine Mountains, 1998. Family of 4 missing for 10 days, last seen heading toward holiday. Cabin authorities warn travelers to avoid remote areas during winter storms, Mia whispered. None of them were found. Jordan lifted a photo from the folder. His hands went cold. It was the same cabin, same angle, but the people standing in front of it weren't smiling. They looked terrified, like they knew they weren't supposed to be there. Kyle flipped the photo around. 3 words were written in shaky handwriting. IT took them. Emma stepped back. The owners, the visitors. No one ever left. Jordan looked around the room. What if the house traps everyone who comes here? The lights flickered once. Then again. Then completely went out. The room fell silent except for the faint creaking above them. Footsteps in the attic. Slow, heavy, growing louder. Mia whispered, trembling, they never escaped. A cold whisper drifted down the stairs. Now it's your turn. The attic footsteps grew louder, as if something heavy was dragging itself closer to the stairs. The friends huddled near the fireplace, their breaths trembling in the warm, suffocating air. Kyle whispered, We need a plan. Anything. Emma's eyes drifted to a narrow wooden door next to the fireplace, one they hadn't noticed before. Dust covered its frame, but a small metal plate glimmered faintly. Jordan leaned closer. It says, "House rules." Mia's voice cracked. "Why would a cabin have rules like that?" Emma opened the door. Inside was a single sheet of paper nailed to the wood, yellowed from age, edges burned, the ink uneven as if rewritten many times. Kyle read aloud. 1. Never step outside after 9 p.m. A cold wind rattled the windows as if agreeing. 2. Do not answer voices calling your name. Mia covered her ears instinctively. You mean like the man outside? Jordan swallowed. Or the whisper in the attic? Kyle continued. 3. Do not look at the windows after 1:15 a.m. Emma checked the clock. 1:02 a.m. Her breath shortened. 4. Never enter guest room B. It's not meant for the living. Mia gasped. That's the room we opened, Emma whispered, and the bed was used. As if someone already stayed there. A loud thump hit the attic floor. Dust drifted down from the ceiling. Kyle continued reading. 5. Do not attempt to leave the property. The roads will bring you back. Jordan's voice shook. It already did, twice. The final rule was written in a darker, heavier ink. 6. The house must never be empty. Someone must always stay. A dead silence followed. Emma whispered, It needs people. Mia stepped back. It's alive. It traps guests so it never stays empty. Before they could react, a sudden creak sounded from the hallway, the same hallway leading to guest room B. The door handle slowly turned. Kyle grabbed the fireplace poker. Everyone stay behind me. The door opened with a long, slow groan. Inside the dim hallway, the shadows twisted slightly, like something breathing. Emma whispered, Who's there? A voice answered, quiet, scared, trembling. Please, don't leave me alone. It sounded like a young woman, a real human voice. Mia stepped forward instinctively, but Jordan grabbed her arm. No, the rules don't answer voices. The house went still. Then the voice returned louder. Please, I'm trapped. Just like you. Emma shook her head. That's not a person. That's the house. Kyle whispered, or someone who broke the rules. Suddenly, a loud knock slammed against the front door. 3 times. Boom, boom. Everyone jumped. Another knock. Then a voice deep, commanding called from outside. Open the door. Now. Jordan whispered, It's the man from earlier. Emma shook violently. No, he walked into the forest. How did he get here so fast? The knocks grew harder, faster, as if the wood was about to break. Boom, 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 boom. The house shook. Then all knocking stopped. Silence swallowed the cabin. A cold whisper drifted from the attic. The rules keep you alive. Break them, and the house decides your fate. Emma whispered the question none of them wanted to ask. What happens if we follow the rules? Jordan answered softly. Then the house gets to choose who stays. The house fell silent after the knocking stopped, but the air felt heavier, like the walls were holding their breath. Kyle wiped sweat from his forehead. This is it. Rules or no rules, we're leaving. Emma whispered, but the house said the roads bring us back. Jordan grabbed his jacket anyway. Then we keep driving until something breaks. I'm not staying here waiting for this place to choose who stays. Mia hesitated. What if that's exactly what it wants? For us to panic and run? Kyle didn't answer. He yanked the door open. The night outside was dead quiet. The trees stood perfectly still, too still, and the snow on the porch looked untouched, even though they had walked on it minutes ago. Emma whispered, The footprints. They're gone. Jordan's voice shook. The house reset the outside. Still they left. They ran to the car, breath freezing in the air. Kyle jumped into the driver's seat, turned the key. The engine roared instantly. Go! Mia shouted. Kyle floored the accelerator. The car boarded down the snowy road. For the first time, the forest didn't feel like it was turning. It felt like it was watching. Emma checked the clock. 1:28 a.m. They approached the bend in the mountain road. The headlights illuminated the trees, tall, white, silent. Kyle whispered, Yes, Yes, we're getting out. The car burst around the bend, and all four screamed. Because standing in the road ahead was the cabin. Perfectly centered. Lights on. Door open. Jordan gasped. No. No, this is the road out. This is the only road out. Kyle hit the brakes. The car skidded on ice, turning sideways, slamming to a stop just inches from the porch steps. Mia sobbed. We didn't turn. We went straight. Emma shook her head violently. The road didn't change. The house moved. Kyle punched the steering wheel. This place is alive. It's moving. Then the porch light flickered 3 times. Click, click, click. And the front door opened slowly. Welcoming them. Inviting them, Jordan whispered, "It wants us inside." "We're not going back," Kyle said, pushing the gas again. The car jumped backward, tires spinning in the snow. Kyle turned sharply and tried to go around the cabin off the road. But no matter which way he turned, the car only drove deeper into fog, and every direction brought them back to the same spot, the same porch, the same open door. The cabin wasn't a place, it was a center point, and everything circled back to it. Emma's breathing became rapid. We're running in circles, but the car isn't turning. Jordan checked the odometer. It hadn't moved, not even a meter. That's when they realized they weren't driving anywhere. The house was holding them in place. Mia whispered, "We can't escape it, not by car, not by foot." Kyle stared at the open door. "It's forcing us to go inside." Again. Emma shook her head violently. "If we go back in, the house gets to choose who stays." A cold wind pushed against the car. The trees creaked. The cabin's windows glowed brighter. The house waited. Jordan whispered, "It won't stop until one of us stays forever." The front door creaked again, wider this time. And from inside came a whisper, soft and welcoming, "Come home." Snow swirled around the car as the cabin's door stood open, glowing like a hungry mouth in the dark. Emma clutched the seatbelt. "We can't step inside, we can't." Kyle stared straight ahead, trembling. "We don't have a choice. The house won't let us leave." Jordan suddenly pointed at the ground. "Wait, does anyone hear that?" A faint vibration, a heartbeat-like thump. Slow, deep, rhythmic. Mia whispered, terrified, "That's not the wind. The ground is vibrating." Jordan opened the car door slowly and knelt down. He pressed his hand into the snow, his face drained of color. "It's beating, the ground is beating. Like something alive is under us." Kyle shook his head. "Impossible." But Emma stepped out and touched the snow too. It pulsed gently like skin beneath fabric. She recoiled instantly. "Oh my God. This mountain, it's alive." Jordan's voice cracked. "No, not the mountain, the house." The cabin lights flickered in response, almost as if it heard them talking. Emma whispered, "It's not haunted, it's not cursed, it's biological. It's alive." Mia hugged herself. "But why does it take people?" Jordan pointed at the wooden foundation visible beneath the porch. Large root-like structures pulsed beneath it, glowing faintly. "Those aren't roots," he whispered. "They're veins." Emma gasped. "It feeds. It keeps people here because it survives on us." Kyle swallowed hard. "You're saying the house eats people?" "No," Jordan replied. "It absorbs them, makes them part of itself." Mia shook violently. "The photo files, the missing guest. They didn't leave because they became the house." The porch creaked. The sound was not wood shifting, it was breathing. Emma whispered, "And the rules weren't to protect us. They were to protect the house." Suddenly, the front door slammed shut, then opened again. As if impatient, Jordan pointed at the attic window. A face appeared there, not human, not ghostly, pressed against the glass like something trapped inside the walls. Emma gasped. "That's a person." Someone the house absorbed. The face twisted, screaming silently. Mia broke down. "We have to leave, we have to." The house groaned loudly. Snow fell from its roof like it exhaled. Emma wiped tears. "No, there has to be a way. Something the others didn't try." Jordan backed away, staring at the pulsing veins beneath the porch. What if the attic is where it keeps its victims? Kyle narrowed his eyes. Then the basement must be where it feeds. Emma turned pale. You're saying the house has a heart? Jordan nodded slowly. And if we want to escape, we have to destroy it. A sudden quake shook the entire property. The windows rattled. The ground throbbed harder, faster. The house was waking up, responding to their realization. Mia screamed as the cabin lights all burst at once, a flash of violent, blinding white. And from deep beneath the snow, a roar erupted. Not human, not animal. Something ancient, hungry, and furious. Jordan whispered, "We just made it angry." The porch light flickered back on, one single glowing eye in the darkness. The door opened again, slowly, deliberately, inviting them inside. The house had heard everything, and now it wasn't going to let them leave. The house's roar faded into a deep, angry rumble beneath the snow. The porch light flickered like a heartbeat, each pulse brighter than the last. Emma whispered, "This is it. It's awake now." Kyle backed toward the car, gripping the door handle. We run, into the woods, away from the house. Jordan grabbed his arm. "No, the woods aren't safer. Remember the footsteps, the dragging. Something followed us." Before they could argue, the attic window shattered. All four screamed as shards of glass rained down, disappearing into the snow. A long, pale hand thin as bone slid out through the broken frame. Mia covered her mouth. "That's a person, or what's left of one." The hand clawed at the roof, pulling something forward. A twisted figure, half human, half wood, its skin fused with the cabin's beams. Jordan choked. "That's one of the missing guests." The creature let out a muffled, hollow scream, as if its lungs were filled with dust. Then the house answered back with another deep rumble, commanding it. The creature turned toward them. Kyle yelled, "Run!" They sprinted into the trees, boots sinking into deep snow. Branches whipped their faces, ice cut their skin. Behind them, the creature crawled down the cabin wall, unnaturally fast. Emma tripped, but Jordan pulled her up. "Don't stop! Keep going!" The forest grew darker with every step. The moon vanished behind thick clouds. And then a second figure emerged between the trees. Then a third. Then more. All fused with wood. All victims of the house. Mia sobbed. "They're everywhere." Kyle grabbed a fallen branch and swung wildly. The creatures didn't flinch. Emma pointed. "There, a clearing." They crashed through the trees into a small open space. Snow glowed faintly under the moonlight. But then Emma froze. The clearing was a perfect circle. No trees grew in it. The ground was smooth, too smooth. Jordan looked down. His breath caught. Beneath the thin layer of snow, the ground wasn't dirt, it was wood. The clearing wasn't a clearing. It was part of the house, stretching under the forest floor, and it was pulsing. Mia screamed as the wooden ground cracked open like a giant mouth, splitting, shifting, swallowing snow and leaves. Kyle grabbed Emma's hand. "We need to get off this thing." But the ground lurched upward, throwing them back toward the cabin. The trees tilted. The forest warped. The cabin revealed itself again through the shifting woods, glowing like a beacon. Jordan whispered, trembling, "It's pulling us back. It wants to finish what it started." The house roared. The final night had begun. The forest twisted around them like a living maze, forcing the friends back toward the glowing cabin. No matter where they ran, every path bent, every tree leaned, guiding them home. The house roared again, deep, hungry, victorious. Mia fell to her knees. "It won't let us go. We can't escape." Emma grabbed her, pulling her up. "We have to try. Just keep moving." But Jordan stopped suddenly. His eyes widened, horrified. "Guys, the snow, look." Footprints appeared beside them. Not theirs. Fresh. Heavy. And then a voice whispered right behind Emma's ear. "The house must never be empty." She spun around. No one there. The ground pulsed. Wood cracked beneath their boots. A long wooden arm erupted from the earth and wrapped around Jordan's ankle. He screamed as it yanked him down. "Jordan!" Emma lunged forward, grabbing his hands. Kyle and Mia pulled too, but the wooden floor beneath the snow opened wider, swallowing Jordan inch by inch. "Don't let go!" Please! Jordan's face twisted in terror. Then something changed. His expression softened. His voice grew calm. It's choosing me. The house groaned approvingly. No! Emma cried. Fight it. But Jordan's hands slipped from theirs, and he was pulled beneath the wooden ground with a final gasp. Silence. The forest stopped moving. The wind returned. The cabin lights dimmed peacefully. The house was satisfied. Kyle fell to his knees, trembling. It took him instead of us. Emma looked back at the cabin. The door slowly closed on its own, locked. A single lantern glowed on the porch, quiet, calm, patient. Mia whispered, voice breaking, "It won't chase us anymore." Jordan became the one who stays. Emma wiped her tears. Then we run. Now. They fled down the mountain, never looking back. At sunrise, they finally reached the main highway. Cars, signal, people. They were free. But miles behind them, at the edge of the forest, the cabin stood silent and still. A new face appeared in the attic window. Jordan's, eyes hollow, skin pale, watching, waiting. And on the listing that afternoon, the cabin updated itself automatically. Available for holiday guests.